a little while. All right, Janet, I'll take this group. You can take the next one. Thank you for coming to the Museum of Ancient and Extinct Civilizations. Please be considerate and silence all cell phones and other electronic devices. And please, no flash photography in our museum. Welcome to the Jewish Culture Exhibit. My name is Jessica, and I'll be your tour guide today. Jewish civilization, once thought to be eternal. Despite their small size, the Jewish nation outlived many empires much larger and prosperous than their own. They believed they were the chosen people, thus deemed by God to be indestructible no matter the enemy. The proverbial Jew was a most mysterious figure, managing to survive generations of persecutions, expulsions, and genocide. Please, turn your attention to the screens.
In the ancient world, in the eastern part of the Fertile Crescent, also known as the cradle of civilization, is the Holy Land, the land of Israel. And there, for centuries, the Jewish people flourished and lived in peace. And then, because they did not live up to their divine covenant, the Jews faced destruction after destruction at the hands of their enemies. First came the Babylonians, then the Persians, then the Greeks, and finally, with all their fury, the Romans, who forced them into exile and dispersion. For over 2,500 years, Jews suffered persecution.
Yes, for over 2,500 years since the fall of the Second Temple in Jerusalem, you were scattered across the globe. And for over 2,500 years, they were driven out of their homes in country after country. And yet, generation after generation, the Jews continued to rise up and flourish. They survived right through the 20th century, making them the longest surviving culture in the world. Only in these last few decades did the Jewish people disappear completely. The Jews are now an extinct people. They no longer exist. Which brings us to today's exhibit. Here you can see 5 different Jews, each frozen in a time and place in which a different enemy threatened the existence of the Jews. Follow me, please. At the turn of the 12th century, the church began its campaign to push back Islamic conquest and to gain land and power. This campaign was known as the Crusades. The Crusader armies were brutal, acting in the name of the Catholic Pope who promised them godly rewards. They pillaged, slaughtered, and wreaked havoc on everyone in their way, including the Jews. Please turn your attention to the following short video.
But the pilgrims rose up in a spirit of cruelty against the Jews. They inflicted a most cruel slaughter on them, claiming that the killings would be of service against the enemies of Christianity. They attacked them, decapitated many. They destroyed their homes and synagogues, and even divided all the looted money amongst themselves.
The Crusades marked the first large-scale European mob violence directed against the Jews, which, as we know, became a pattern for the next few hundred years.
Sarah! Sarah, where are you? You have to leave now! There are reports coming in every hour that the army is on its way right here, to Maine.
What will we do? We know what the army did just last week when they marched to the countryside. They killed every Jew, man, woman, and child. To them we're nothing but infidels.
The Bishop of Ruthard has promised us refuge in a stronghold on his estate. Rabbi Toledano has instructed us to entrust all of our money and possessions into his hands. It is the only way to safeguard it from the pillaging that we know will occur.
Well, why do they want to hurt us, Papa? Because we are Jews.
Let's go. The Bishop will address us shortly.
Jews, do not fear. I offer you my guard and protection. You may stay in the main hall of my own home. It is safe and secure. Surely the Crusader army will not attack the home of the bishop.
Come, let us sit. Papa, am I to spend my 12th birthday of mine here, in this hall? I've been looking forward to May of 1096 my whole life. Hush, Miriam. We have to be thankful for our safety and ask for nothing else.
Mama, I'm scared. I hear the horses approaching.
Sleep, Rachel. We are safe here.
Just after sunrise, the army attacked the Jews in their hall with their arrows and lances, breaking down the bolts in the doors and killing over 700 men, women, and children. Sadly, this is how thousands from the Jewish community in Europe at this time met their end. Please, follow me this way. Despite the Crusades, by the 14th century, Jewish communities were flourishing once again, this time in the Golden Age of Spain. Yet, this golden era, like all golden eras, was bound to come to an end. Please watch.
Jews who had converted to Christianity are accused of secretly sabotaging the Christian faith. Thousands perish in a ritual called the Act of Faith. The assassination of the Inquisitors sets off a wave of reprisals. Mothers will die to protect their children, and the highest in the land will pay the ultimate price. It is the beginning of the Spanish Empire, and a long dark night that will last for centuries.
Here we are, circa 1480, when the infamous Spanish Inquisition was put into effect, in order to root out false conversos. Those Jews who converted to Christianity, but secretly practiced Judaism. These Jews were given the chance to convert or die during the anti-Jewish riots of the previous century. And so it was not uncommon to find those who secretly maintained their faith. Interestingly, it was the food that these conversos ate and the way that they cooked that often gave their identities away.
Baking them, they will lose their power to grant your wishes.
So, I can't have one until Passover?
Of course you can have one. As soon as they are baked, you can have as many as you want.
But I thought you said they were for Passover.
I said they were for an after-school snack today. Now you go run along and find your brothers. That child, she is quite a handful. Always poking around in places she shouldn't be. Well, Maria, what are you watching me like that?
Senora, that is the recipe of the Jews.
dare you accuse me of cooking like a Jew? If I ever hear you speak that filthy word again in this house, I'll make sure you do not ever find work again in this city. Now leave this kitchen at once. And if you're lucky, I will pretend that you do not say what you said.
Angelina, my darling wife, what is that delicious smell?
She is going to turn us in. She realizes what I am baking.
No, surely she will not deport us. She realizes how powerful and important our family is.
That's just it. The monarchy would love to get their hands on our lands and our money. And the Inquisition authorities give a handsome prize to these kitchen spies. Maria will not hold her tongue. It was a mistake to hire her. I told you she was up to no good.
Maria Sancho, the kitchen maid, turned in Angelina de Leon and her husband to the Inquisition authorities the very next day with a detailed report of the preparation of her masas. They were both found guilty upon trial in court and were both hanged. The family fell from grace as they lost all their lands and possessions. Such investigations and trials, as well as executions and expulsions of Jews, went on for the next hundreds of years, forcing the Jews to find refuge again in other countries. Right this way, please. Many Jews fled in search of a more stable and peaceful existence in the Middle East, joining Jewish communities who had been there since Babylonian times. Here you can see actual footage from these communities. And indeed, after settling in Muslim lands such as Iraq, Iran, Syria, Lebanon, Egypt, and Tunisia, the Jews flourished alongside their Islamic neighbors and lived undisturbed for many centuries. However, this peaceful existence was not to last. As the 20th century dawned, anti-Jewish feelings festered and waves of Arab persecution began.
Yalla, Abraham, have you found it yet? It's in Parshat Yitro. Come, let me show you where Matan Torah is.
Baba, how many more hours until Minyan?
It's only midnight, Abraham. We have 5 hours till Netzach Hama. Now that you're bar mitzvah, you get to stay up with me the whole night of Shavuot and learn. Now, go on.
I know, and I'm trying to, but must we stay up all night? Can't we stay up just a little bit longer?
Abraham, Iraqi Jews have had this tradition for thousands of years. Let's see, it's 1941. The Torah was given in 1312 BCE. That's 3,253 years ago. And just think, we have been keeping this tradition every year since. Wow! Let's go.
What's that noise? It sounds like shooting.
I see people running. It sounds like a mob. Quick, Abraham! Get the broken bricks to the wall and go to the roof! They're coming for us!
The Muslim mob continued their violence through the night, looting Jewish homes and killing over 700 Iraqi Jews, men, women, and children. Families defended themselves in any way they could. This event, known as the Farhud, marked the beginning of the end of the Iraqi Jewish community. And as similar events began to take place all over the Middle East, a mass exodus of Jews began once again. Almost 1 million Jews fled the Muslim lands in the 20th century, leaving that area of the world nearly bereft of Jews. Follow me. As we journey back to Europe, circa 1930, when the Jewish communities had again reached a pinnacle of culture and Jewish life. Before World War II, there were over 9 million Jews living throughout every country in Europe. They enjoyed a rich tapestry of Jewish culture spanning many different languages, levels of religiosity, customs, and traditions. Particularly in Eastern Europe, Jewish life thrived. There were scholars, artists, musicians, doctors, writers, and rabbis. But as Hitler and his Nazi party rose to power, the Jews began to lose their jobs, their freedom, and even their lives. Please, turn your attention to the screens.
Once the ghetto became a reality, the Jews trapped inside were its prisoners. They could no longer come and go freely as they wanted to. They literally went to bed one night and woke up the next morning surrounded by walls. And now at the entrance to the ghetto stood very intimidating symbols of authority, German guards and Polish policemen. Any Jew who was found outside the ghetto was unceremoniously shot. The Jews were sealed inside the ghetto.
There was nowhere for these Jews to run, and nowhere for them to hide. Dear Diary, how is it that when I look back at your first page, I can hear my own laughter jump in between the lines? How is it that just 1 year ago, on the day of my 9th birthday, I wrote of you for the first time and sounded full of hope and happiness? How is it that just 1 measly year ago, you were given to me by my father, and now the only memory left of him is the photo I pasted into your front cover? It has been 3 months here in this attic. I'm wearing the same clothes I wore the day my cousins and I came up here. We sleep, eat, read, and talk lying side by side. There's no room to stand or stretch. Who could have known this attic would become our home? Mama says we're lucky to be alive, but I'm too hungry to feel lucky. Yesterday, we got some scraps of potato peels from the pig pens. So today, I'm just hungry. But tomorrow, I know I will feel that feeling again. That emptiness in my stomach so deep it hurts. That pain that makes me want to die. But I still smile, and I tell Mama I'm okay. Because if I don't, then she would give me her potato peels, and she would feel that deadly pain. Today, Mama went to talk to the farmer and his wife. They say it's getting too risky to hide Jews in the attic. Yesterday, the neighbor's son was shot for hiding a Jewish boy in the farm. His own father ratted him out. I really, really hope they decide to keep us. I keep asking myself how it can be that all this is happening to us. But I know the answer all too well. It is because we are Jews.
Was that secret now?
Wait, let's wait for it again.
It sounds wrong. Hello? Is anyone in there?
That sounds like Mrs. Zeitner, the farmer's wife. What should we do? Should we open the floor? Of course we should. She knows we're up here. Wait, what if something happened to Mama? We have to open it.
We can't. She didn't do her secret nose.
Can anyone hear me?
I can't.
You see, it's a simple ceiling. There's nothing above it. Not even space enough for human beings.
If we find out you are lying, we will kill you, your husband, and your daughter. Just like we killed that woman we found sneaking into your car. I swear to it.
We did the right thing. We were right after on the floor. But what woman did they kill? Could it be?
That's the right knob.
You have to leave. They'll be back.
But where will we go? Please, we have nowhere else to go.
I'm sorry. I can't risk my family's lives.
Wait, please! My mother! Where's my mother?
Sorry, Sarah.
No! Sarah's mom, along with Sarah and her 3 cousins, Rachel, Hannah, and Golda, were among the 6 million ultimately killed by the Nazis in what became known as the deadliest genocide in history. And yet, from the embers of the Holocaust rose the surviving Jewish community, that began to live and flourish once again. A state of Israel was established, and Jewish communities around the world lived in peace and security. Little did they know that the worst enemy lurked right among them and was strengthening with each passing decade. Please, follow me. Into the age of internet and social media. By the early 2000s, the Pew Report showed that assimilation had become the biggest threat to Jewish existence. An alarming 58% of diaspora Jews were intermarrying, and the number of Jews was not increasing. In fact, it actually seemed to be decreasing. Please, turn your attention to the screens. Although there was no nation threatening their physical or spiritual existence, the threat came from within, as Jews all over the world renounced their religion, married Gentiles, and raised their children out of the faith.
Sahara, you've got to remember your Jewish roots, even when you're in college, especially when you're in college. Meet Jewish friends, have a Sabbath meal, meet Jewish boys.
Oh my God, Mom, stop it already. It doesn't mean anything to me. Why should I do something that doesn't mean anything to me? Religion is a bunch of nonsense. It's just made up by people who wanted to control their people.
At least keep your necklace on. At least that. It will remind you where Grandma and Grandpa came from.
Sure, Mom, whatever you say.
And take this. Please, Sahara, just take it. What's the harm in keeping your Bible somewhere in your dorm? You could even hide it in your drawer.
Mom, seriously, it's not like you ever opened this book. It's not like you ever celebrated Sabbath. And now all of a sudden I should care that I'm Jewish?
Sahara.
Let's take it. Chrissy's gonna be here any minute. Just go, Mom.
Incidentally, hi, Chrissy.
What's that? It's nothing important. Just toss it over there in the garbage.
Just toss it.
Yeah. Store these papers in too so my mom doesn't see it and go fishing it out or something.
What is it?
It's nothing important. Don't worry. It's nothing anybody will miss.
You see, the Jews knew that in every generation, there would be those who rose against them to destroy them. And they truly believed that their God would save them from their enemies' hands each time. And that belief seemed to ring true. But in the end, the Jews didn't need their God to save them from the hands of their enemies. They needed their God to save them from themselves. Thank you for visiting our exhibit today. Please remain seated until the lights have come on.
No one knows I'm here. I've been here for quite some time, watching visitors pass through this exhibit. You see, I'm a Jew. I'm the last Jew. Or at least I'm the last who knows he's a Jew. There are probably a lot of Jews still left in our society, but they don't know they're Jewish. Or worse, they don't care. I've seen Jews throw away their Judaism like an old t-shirt, out of style and old news. I've seen Jewish university students spewing hate towards their own faith. I've seen parents raise their Jewish children to
to deny the existence of God. But the worst was the educated Jews, the Orthodox ones, who were just going through the motions, keeping their laws with no meaning behind their actions, keeping their traditions but with spite. Jews who sat in their synagogues uninterested, unmoved, and uninspired. Jews who just didn't care. And it was those Jews who ultimately lost their religion, who raised children who were not taught to believe, who were taught to deny the existence of God. And now the Jews, the believing Jews, who were immersed in the Torah, the laws, the traditions, and the culture, have disappeared. I'm the last one who knows where I came from and what my ancestors did so that I could be here today. If anyone knew that I was still here, I would surely become another part of this exhibit. But I can't let that happen. I can't let my people be extinguished entirely. I must survive. I must revive. And I need help. I must find the Jews that still exist and ask them to reconsider. Beg them to try being Jewish again. Implore them to care. If only the Jews hadn't taken their religion for granted. If only the Jews had stopped to think, what is the meaning behind what we do? Where did we come from? What happened in our history so that we could be alive today? In every generation, we faced an enemy. In every generation, God saved us. But in this generation, we need to save ourselves.
Oh goodness, the lights never came on. Janet, can you get the lights, please? Thank you. You've been a wonderful group. Please note, the guides waiting for you on either side, boys to this side and girls to this side. And exit with your guide to the next exhibit of our museum. Thank you for visiting the Jewish cultures.